It would seem as though.
Hi. Hello. It's me.
It's me, Valentina.
I'm here.
And good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, here we are another day in our beautiful studio, which is animal friendly, thank goodness, because we have these crazy animals on both sides of
our
us.
assistants.
Right, our assistants, who, by the way, would be completely useless.
Yeah.
You know, other than if we wanted to go, okay, to that one, go, all right, now claw stuff up.
Now be
and to
indifferent.
the dog, just run in circles and act like a lunatic.
Well,
okay.
Kitty girl, I'm just like, be indifferent and scream about everything.
Right.
That's her.
There you go.
Her existential dread.
Well, you know... Expectations. Yeah. It's setting expectations.
Oh, yes it is.
Welcome back to another week of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing. Sorry, I almost forgot my line.
I'm Annika.
Me too.
Yeah, we're both Annika
We're
today.
both Annika. Vesta's sleeping today.
Not really. I'm Vesta. But what's funny is Annika and I, in so many ways, are kind of the same person.
Yes.
She's just the younger, thinner version of me.
Sure.
But, you know.
Yeah.
But essentially, where it counts on the inside, we're about the same.
Yeah. And it's funny because Gavin has always said, you guys are very similar. Like, since he met you, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, and I was thinking about that today, where we are so similar in most ways, and the ways that we're different just keep it interesting. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we're not super different. No, ma'am.
No. I think of all the people in the world, I'm probably most similar to you.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then I think probably after you, it would then be my sister Linda.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we have a lot of similarities. We're both gorgeous women.
Right.
You know.
Sassy.
Both have children.
Right.
We both will tell you to fuck off.
I love that. That's funny. I don't think that there's anyone else that I'm so similar to. I mean, I think my closest people I have tons of similarities with. But after you... I mean,
yeah.
I don't really know. It would just be some besties, but that they're not even like so similar to me like you are, you know? So it's literally just you. Could you not? This cat is trying to sit on my shoulder like just a goddamn parrot.
Yeah, and if she wasn't 25 pounds,
listen,
that might work.
She gets heavier every episode.
So she's 47 pounds today. What is she, 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 pounds. Still, who wants 20 pounds sitting on your shoulder?
Listen, she fluctuates, 18 to 22, and she's a happy girl.
Her weight fluctuates.
Yeah.
You know, like every woman.
Every woman, yeah. So
oh my God.
She struggles.
You know, as a fat woman,
yeah,
I am very kind of aware of when other people are talking about their fatness.
Yeah.
And when thin people talk about their fatness, I want to punch them in the face.
Yeah.
You know, so like when I have a client, and this is a real example, who was talking to me about diet stuff, and she's like 150 years old, and she's just thin as a rail.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh gosh, I've really, really been struggling with my weight. And I really thought she was going to say, I just can't put weight on.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was old and thin and frail.
And that's a real concern.
And the color of chalk.
Yeah.
And so I think, is she that pasty because she's anemic?
Anemic, yeah. More than likely.
And she goes, I gained 3 pounds. And I just can't get those 3. But you should probably gain like 10 more.
You should have lifted her up above your head and broke her over your knee. And said, now gain weight, bitch. Or lose weight. I don't know. Now wait.
Now whine about it.
Yeah, for real. Look, we've had this conversation about, like, because my weight has fluctuated, and I'm not so much upset. I don't care, more so that I don't want to go buy a new wardrobe or whatever. Yeah. So I'm on, like, a health journey, I would say. Just figuring out, like, I've never really been conscious of what I've put in my body, really, because I've never needed to be. You know what Girl, I'm not just talking about the men, okay?
Okay. So we're talking just about food.
Yeah, foods and things. But yeah, so I'm trying to, move more. But there were some, I remember when I lost so much weight and I lived in Long Beach, California.
Right.
And I was on...
You were a lollipop head stick figure.
Honestly, I was like 140 pounds, which I'm 6'1", was so unhealthy. I was so thin. You could see my ribs and my hip bones, like, too well.
It was too thin.
And my skin was gray. There's a picture of me sitting with these 2 younger siblings of one of my good friends, and they like her younger brother has his shirt off and her younger sister is wearing like a tank top. They look regularly toned people. I'm next to them, grayed out. Like, it is...
So it's like you look like the alien who came to snatch up these children?
For real. And it looks like, you know, when you take a photo and you can, like, black and white somebody out?
Yes.
It looked like that.
So you looked like Detox at the finale of her
season
it looked
Drag Race. Like they just photoshopped it and made me black, and, white.
Black and white.
It was...
That's crazy.
And that's when I was like, oh, you're
Perhaps I should eat something.
Yeah, well, I was on a really fucked up... prescription. I had just gone through, I almost had a divorce. Not that yet, but like a breakup, and I had to move, and I wasn't eating. So like there was a whole bunch of things, but I hurt too. It felt like my bones were just rubbing together. If I moved too
probably were.
Girl, I moved too quickly.
No fat to lubricate them.
No. And if I moved too quickly, I was going to start a fire somewhere. You know, so
yeah. Well, that
the,
sounds right.
It was awful. I would never ever want to be that thin.
You know what's funny to me is that in my lifetime, I've known people who are like, "Oh God, I'm just too upset to eat." Like if they break up, have a breakup, or somebody dies, or whatever, they lose a job, whatever would cause most people to be super, unhappy or upset. Nothing makes me go, "I can't eat," unless I have food poisoning.
Okay. Yeah.
And when I had hepatitis.
Yeah.
But that's it. In my entire life, because people go, "Oh God, I'm so sick, I can't eat." Unless I'm throwing up, I can eat.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm always up for some kind of food, and, I certainly didn't get to be this big by skipping meals and being picky.
I do get that. Under stress, people either are like, no food, or all food. The food. Yeah. Because I think for me, it's depending. It depends on what it is, what the stressor is, but there have been times in my life where I'm like, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm so sad, I feel broken as a person that, like... To me, it's more of like a, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Who cares?
Well, that makes sense, because when people say, I just can't eat, it's like,
well, you can't.
Is your fork gone? what do you mean you
Girl,
can't
what
eat?
You mean? Yeah.
But if it's, what's the point in eating?
Yeah.
Who cares about life and whatever?
Yeah.
That actually makes sense to me.
Seems
Whereas,
logical.
like, these bitches who are like, I forgot to eat.
Yep.
Bitch, I forgot to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I have forgotten... to pick... No, I've never forgotten to pick my children up. But I forget lots of things. But eating? No. I never, ever, once in life have I gone, oh, God, why am I so hungry? Oh,
I haven't eaten today.
I forgot to eat today.
Oh, but see, that... It is so funny, because a lot of the time that is very me. But we've talked about...
Yes, that's one of our differences.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, with my little ADHD brain, I'm like, okay... Oh, I'll eat. I'm getting hungry. Oh, these dishes need to be done. Oh, I gotta go take a quick shower. I gotta let Gene out. I gotta feed the dog. I gotta... And then it's like, oh, all these things. Let me do these things real quick, and then I'll eat.
Right. I'm gonna do 47 tasks.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I can sit down and eat.
Yeah. And so that's another thing with my quote-unquote health journey. It is just making sure that I'm eating at appropriate times. And it's not like, oh, I'm having a full breakfast and a full lunch and a full dinner. No. It's just making sure that I'm eating and staying hydrated. I've always been real good at that. But yeah, eating. And so for the past month, I have like meal prepped on Sundays. And then so the week I know what I'm going to eat for lunch. I know what I'm going to have for breakfast. Like,
I love that.
I know what my snacks are, and I feel better. I don't feel as crazy. I'm not sleeping better, but
that would be nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so crazy how food is, can make you feel like a person, girl.
Right.
It's weird. Who knew?
So this week, because last week we talked about some good life advice and some things that we had heard and different things we want to talk about. I want to read this to you because I love this.
Sure. I'm ready.
This just to me spoke volumes, other than somebody referred to something as three halves, but whatever. Life is a game of three halves. In the first... Wouldn't it just be thirds?
Thirds.
In the first, you worry about what people think of you.
Yeah.
In the second, you don't care what people think about you. But in the third, you realize no one was thinking about you anyway.
Nope.
Ugh. To me, that's huge. Because I'm in the third. I'm in the third of my life. Absolutely. It's like, and I know we've talked about this before, but for me, it was really that episode of Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
Where she says to David, no one's thinking about you.
No one's thinking about you the way you think they're thinking about you.
Right. Because he was a grown man who didn't have a driver's license, and he was embarrassed to go take it because everyone's going to be staring at him and laughing at him and whatever. And she's like, nobody cares. Nobody is over there going, oh, see that grown man? He doesn't have a... It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
And I love this because it puts it so succinctly. You realize no one was thinking about you anyway.
No. I remember learning to drive a car.
Yeah.
And it's when Grandma had her red sporty Saturn, right? And it was a stick shift, and whatever. So I learned to drive on a stick shift, mostly in a blue Honda hatchback, but Grandma was taking me driving in her car around Carlton, and I was petrified, not of driving, even though I hate driving. It wasn't even that. It was, I'm going to stall the car, I'm going to kill it, and then someone's going to see me fucking do that, or can't get it started, or whatever, and that's humiliating. It wasn't until I got to adult that I was like, none of them care. And even if they saw me and we're all, hey, loser, a second later, they forget. They don't give a shit. It's not monumental. It doesn't stick with them, right?
Yeah. One of the things that helped me kind of really accept that is something that I do and didn't even think about until that all kind of came about.
Yeah.
So if I'm behind you on the road and you do something stupid, you're driving too slowly, you're weaving, you're not going when the light's green, whatever it is, whatever dumb thing you're doing, I am sitting there going, God, you fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as they turn, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm going.
And it's like, I'm not going to think about them for the rest of the day. It's like, I'm not going to get to work and go, oh my God, I was behind this person who did this stupid thing. No. Yeah. As soon as they're out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. Well, and I think about how I think of people, or when I look at people, or even if someone... to my own internal monologue, if you look cuckoo, or if you're dressed weird, or if you're being a real cunt, or whatever it is, nothing affects my day that much that I think about it later. If it was at work and someone came in and it was a weird thing, I would tell my other coworkers, like, hey, this crazy thing happened today. But it wasn't like I was perseverating over it. I don't care that much about most people to think about, oh, what are they doing? I don't care. Mostly get away from me. As long as you're walking the other way from me, I don't care. I don't care what you're doing.
No.
Yeah. What else? What else do you have to read to me?
This one just says, what is the one piece of advice you would give to anyone?
Okay.
And there's more than one. There's, I think, 6. Okay. When you're winning, keep your mouth shut. Because you don't need to brag.
Talk less.
Yeah. Don't tell people your plans. Wait till the results speak for themselves.
Talk less. Yes, girl. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Never. This is one that I'm all. Never expect to get what you give. Mm-hmm. Not everyone has a heart of flesh.
No.
And I'm all. That's so true because I am one of those people who, if I'm giving, 100%, I expect you to do the same.
Yeah.
And it's not really achievable. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I heard it best when I was listening to my good friend Michelle Obama talk about her relationship with Barack. Mm-hmm. And she was saying how there was a time there where she was real mad at him for several years.
Yeah. And
she was like, but I still loved him.
Yeah.
I still wanted to be with him. I still, all of those things, but there was just this thing that we were like, it's going to be a while to get past this one. And it wasn't anything, it wasn't like he had an affair, it wasn't that kind of thing. But she then said, marriage is not 50-50. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's like, it should be 50-50. Ideally, and in the end, yes, it should be. But not every day is going to be 50-50. No. Like today might be 80-20. Yeah. And tomorrow might be something else. As long as everybody's doing what they need to do, on the days where you can give more. Give more. Yeah. On the days where you need more, then your partner should do more. It's as simple as that. And that was one of the things that I was like, oh. It's like, that was such a big revelation to me. Because I'd never thought about it that way. And that makes such sense.
Yeah.
Okay, every day you wake up, you have a new job to be better than yesterday.
Yep. Girl, yeah.
And I think that's one of those things that I've always thought about that. Is like, well, today didn't go as planned, but I've got tomorrow to make it better. And especially as a parent.
Yes.
Like, I will say, well, I blew it today. Like, I yelled at my children. Or I, did something that made me feel like I was not being a great parent that day. And then I'll go, but...
There's tomorrow.
And I'm also the parent who apologizes to my children.
Weird.
Who says, you know what? I fucked up. I so made a mistake today. I am fallible just like everyone else. And I'm so sorry that happened today. and I'm going to work my best to do better.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you, though, the whole idea of, like, tomorrow's another day to be better, or whatever the quote was, yes. I think I would be careful for some people, because, like, for me, being raised by grandma and having her tell me every day, like, do better, do better, do better, do better. And now I'm at this point where if I'm not doing something or I'm not achieving above and beyond everybody, then I feel like I'm a loser. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not doing enough.
But that's that whole overachiever thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fine line between, I just want to be a better person.
Yeah.
I want to, like, keep learning, keep, like, listening to what other people have to say. For me, it's not achieving like the way that it is for you and has been for your whole life.
Yeah.
It is more like, okay, you said this thing, that made sense to me. And so I was like, okay, that's a new thing I've picked up. And it's just not being afraid to listen to new ideas and to go, oh, I've been wrong this whole time. The big thing for me is not being afraid to be wrong.
Right. And I look at it conversely as I give myself grace, right? Like, oh, I didn't do as well, so they're the same thing, right? Exactly.
Okay. You will never get what you want until you're grateful for what you have.
Oh, my God. You know who I thought about with it? Your children.
Oh, God, yes.
You'll never, what'd you say? You'll never what?
You'll never get what you want until you're grateful for what you have.
Yes. But I think most people never really grow into that.
Well, and I think most children are ungrateful. And I don't think at that point they've really kind of got that concept. But my children are who I can talk about because, well, I see them every day and,
Well, and you know what they have, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Continue.
And so when my children are saying things like, well, I want to do this because it's been, whatever. It's been too long since we've done this. Or I want this new thing. Or I want... You know what? You have.
Ugh.
You have... I mean, if we're just going to go through it, they each have their own computer. Mm-hmm. They have their own tablet. Mm-hmm. They each have a smartwatch because we're trying to get them used to having that to build them up to a phone. Grace will probably never get a phone because she can't remember to keep it, charge it, find it, whatever.
What's a phone?
Right. They each have been on multiple vacations.
Yeah, girl.
They started vacationing on, flying somewhere when he was 3 and she was 5.
Yeah.
So we flew all the way to Florida and went to Disney World.
Well, and
at 3 and 5. Now, granted, they think they have a lot of memories of it because we've looked at thousands of photographs.
Yeah.
And so they feel like those are actually their memories. And for Grace, they might be because she was 5. She was old enough to have some real concrete memories. But they've been on multiple flights.
Yeah.
Stayed in hotels, gone to different places. Things that I never did as a child. And I'm not saying, oh, poor me or whatever. It's just the difference.
Yeah.
I was a poor kid, and computers weren't a thing, granted. But we had, one old black and white TV in the living room.
Sure, yeah.
That we had to share between, 8 of us.
Yep.
And one bathroom, and not enough bedrooms. And, these children act like they don't have enough. And it's like, you have more than most people. And one day, and I think we talked about this, when one of Parker's friends and one of Grace's friends both said to them, well, I've never been to Disneyland. I've never been on a vacation.
Yeah.
It's like, and when they said that to me, I said, I need you to hear that. Mm-hmm. I need you to hear that this friend, who seems to be, to you, just living the same life as you're living, has never been on a vacation. Yeah. Because finances are a bigger struggle, because single mom, blah, 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 whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But that's more of a reality for the people you know.
Yeah, girl. Well, and because the first time I was ever on a plane was with you, and I was 15 years old, which is still young. I know there's plenty of people who didn't
I was
fly.
19 the first
right.
time.
People didn't fly until they were, adults. I get that. I think that is on my mind because they slept over on Saturday, right? And so Sunday was Easter morning. They're both very excited to get up and whatever. And Parker kept saying that they're going to do an egg hunt or a scavenger hunt, and they do it every year, and it's going to happen. And I said, okay, well, Mom had a thing to do last night. Maybe they did it last night, but what happens if there isn't one, right? Like,
right.
And he was not thrilled about it. He was like annoyed that there could potentially not be an Easter egg hunt for him or a scavenger hunt or whatever. And it was like, but Mom and Papa always get you a thing, like, right? And it was that moment. Well, no, there's lots of moments in my life where I'm like, wow, our childhoods are so different. Because I remember Easter egg hunting, but at like parks with a billion children. Yeah. And like, when cousins would come over and we do whatever. But like, I only have received an Easter basket twice in my life.
That's crazy.
Honestly, not that many. So when he was like, was going to be mad about not having a scavenger hunt or not getting something, I was like, the fuck? Like, in my head, of course, I was just like, that's crazy to me. I never expected to get anything ever. So to get, even Christmas presents, getting Christmas presents or whatever, or having a birthday party was such a big deal because it never happened.
I never had one until I was an adult.
Right, girl. And so
through my own.
And so sometimes, and this is how I know that I would never have the patience to be a parent, because I too would want to be like, my childhood was fucked up. Here's everything I never got to have or do or see. But then that child doesn't understand the same way that I do.
No.
Right? And I know that, like, but this is how I know. This is why I would never have children of my own, because I feel like I don't have that patience, and I'd be all, you're upset about this? You know what I mean? Like, why? But
well, I know for me that every once in a while, and I do it intentionally, but every once in a while I become that parent who's like, let me tell you about my childhood. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what I didn't have.
Yeah.
I went on my first plane trip when I was 19.
Yeah.
And that was something I paid for to fly back home from Seattle.
Yeah.
So a 20-minute flight.
Yeah, girl, but still. Rich.
It's like right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I didn't have most of the things. I never went on a vacation.
Yeah.
I didn't have new things. I didn't have a room that I was called the playroom.
No.
Where it was full of shit that I don't play with.
Yeah, girl.
It was just all, and every once in a while I'm like, you need to be reminded of what you need to be grateful for.
Put down a little bit, babe, because you're acting crazy. One more thing. I just remember one time, it wasn't that long ago, right? Pandemic time? I don't know. Parker lost his mind because he wanted an iPad or a tablet, and he couldn't have one. And he was like, well, my friend so-and-so, his mom let him have one. And so Parker was going to run away to go live with his friends. So his friend's parents would buy him iPad or tablet. And I said, do you think that's how the world works? Like, so you're going to just leave everything you have, your entire family, mama, papa, me, grandma, everyone, because you can't have an iPad? He's like, no. Yeah, like, had no idea,
right.
But it was like,
listen, if you're going to make me think of this logically,
I know, it was
my whole thing is going to fall apart.
He was like 7 or something. I was like, you do.
So this next piece of advice I hadn't looked at yet, because I just looked that there was more pieces of advice beyond 6.
What did it say?
Oh, wait. Let me read 6, and then I'll go to the one that's like, I don't know. Sometimes what you're trying to hold on to is exactly what you should let go. And we talked about that last week with relationships and stuff.
That's how I
it's
feel.
like, the ones that you're holding on so tightly to, it's like, you better look at that and go, why?
Well, it makes me think, like, why do you feel like you have to hold so tightly? That's the question, is like, why in a relationship do you feel like you have to hold so tightly or they'll go away? Like, that should pause and reflect.
If they're trying to escape, let them go.
And what are they making? And maybe they're not doing anything to make you feel this way, but there's the potential that they could be acting in a way that's making you feel this. One, investigate that, but also, you should never be in a relationship with anybody who makes you feel small.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to read this one, and I'm like, if you want to buy things without looking at the price, work without looking at the clock.
No,
I think that was bullshit.
No.
Only because then it means it's that whole bootstrap thing.
Girl.
Work harder. And whatever. No, get a better job. Work at something you enjoy. Mm-hmm. But the whole buying things without looking at a price tag, that's actually just for rich people.
Yeah.
Because average people will always look at the price tag. So that's just silly.
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
No, I'm not going to even read that one.
Okay. So are some of these just not good advice?
Oh, God. Well, no, it's just like God puts people in your life for a reason and removes them from your life for a better reason.
Bitch, I removed God from my life, so what now?
Well, then the next one's, the devil wouldn't be attacking you so hard if there wasn't something valuable in you.
Girl, I know.
Thieves don't break into an empty house.
Baby girl, that's why I talked to the devil, honey. He's trying to get in.
But I love this one.
Tell me.
You're going to piss a lot of people off when you start doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. And we talked about that last week, too. When you start setting up and holding boundaries.
Yeah.
And whether that's for yourself, like, I will not do this, or you cannot do this, whatever it is, people are going to push against them. And when you hold firm to those boundaries, it's going to piss people off.
Oof. And I think that we both can very much attest to that, you know? I mean, I feel like I pissed most of our family off before I was even 18 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because we talked about that, too, how you going, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to move away from this shithole, I'm going to do what's going to make me safe and happy and flourish. That was bad.
That was bad. I ruined everything.
Yeah. There's only two more.
Okay.
You will lose a lot of friends when you really get serious about your life goals.
I mean, I guess it depends on what your life goals are. That one's just kind of maybe.
But this one I think is really important.
Okay.
Life does not get easier. You just get stronger.
Yes, girl. I feel that same way about grief. It's not that grief gets easier, you just learn to deal, right? Like, I think that you get bigger around the grief, right? You get smarter, stronger, more, you know, whatever. In life, life doesn't get easier, you get better.
Yeah, the phrase I learned last year, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about it, that really, for me, sums up grief so perfectly, is grief is just love with nowhere to go.
Boo! Jesus Christ.
And I love that. I think that is so absolutely true. And that's why it's so hard, because you've got this immense love for someone, and they're no longer there to give it to. So it's like, what do I do with this? You know?
No, honestly. I know this isn't really advice, but I was watching a little video today about this woman who wrote a book about forgiveness, and it made me think about what I think about forgiveness, right? And there've been mostly as a child, there were a lot of people in my life who should have done better, that didn't, and I have that opportunity to forgive them. And we always hear, like, forgive and forget. I am not a proponent for forgiveness, and there's several reasons. I think that being indifferent is the closest thing I could ever be to forgiveness, because if you forgive somebody, that is saying that you no longer resent them for what they have done, right?
Yeah.
Even the people I haven't talked to, my biological father, I still resent the fuck out of him. Do you know what I mean? So there's no way I could forgive him. There's no way, right? Because I don't. I still resent him. I don't think about him. But when people say, oh, this man, I'm always like, ugh, right? Immediately. It's not like, oh, I don't care. It's like, I don't care. But I do have that resentment. I also think forgiveness a lot of times, especially for people who are narcissists, is just a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
I think saying, well, I forgive you, and I am taking away my anger. I'm choosing to not be angry. Here's the thing with my emotions, bitch. I don't get to choose them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I've been in the place where there was somebody, a narcissist specifically, who harmed me, and I set boundaries and forgave them, and set boundaries and forgave them, and it never really did anything for me. Because the thing is, I forgive you for being a fucked up parent, for being a shitty person, whatever, and then you go and re-perpetrate again, and you go and do that same shit again? Do you think that makes me feel, like, great that I forgave you? No. So for me, the idea of forgiveness, I don't think we should be pushing, oh, we'll forgive them, forgive and forget, forgive. No, I think that people need to get there, because forgiving someone is an acknowledgement that they fucked up and you have feelings about it. But also not forgiving them is also an acknowledgement of your feelings.
Well, and for me, and we talked about this a little bit before we started today, is forgiveness is for me. Yeah. You know, it's like, I'm forgiving myself for, one, ever getting involved in you and your nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm forgiving myself for allowing you to have so much control in my life that what you did affected me so much. And I'm not... Forgiveness, it's like you say, but it's forgiveness, to me, is more like, I'm not going to spend any more time thinking about what you did, whatever.
Well, and doing it for yourself makes more sense to me than
I would never go
to
the person who fucked me over and just go, I just want you to know I forgive you. No.
I don't
First of all, they didn't ask for your forgiveness.
No.
And second of all, they're, again, like we said earlier, they're not thinking about you.
Yeah. And they don't
care.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah. I have one more, and then I'm done with my little thing of...
Totally.
Which is never chase love, affection, or attention. If it isn't given freely by another person, it's not worth having.
Boop, boop, boop. Bitch. Yes. 100%.
Well, it's like we were just saying earlier, if you're grasping so hard to something because you're afraid you're going to lose it, then it wasn't yours to begin with.
Oh, yeah. I know. And this is, being in the relationship that I'm in, don't ever have the same thoughts that I had in previous relationships, or same worries, or same concerns. And I don't feel as paranoid, right, with Gavin, because it's not like I have to work to have interest with him. I don't have to work for him to love me. I don't have to have a good day every day for him to think that I'm still great.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And so I'm not like reaching for him as he's backing away, you know? So.
Well, and I think in past relationships, either they were not a good person or they just were the wrong person for you.
Yeah.
And so when it's not a good person, well, that's pretty obvious.
That's easy.
But when it's just not the right person for you, as you're trying to connect, it's like two cogs going together that just don't fit together.
Right.
And it's like it's the squeaking of the wheels because it's never going to fit.
Yeah.
And that's a matter of figuring out, you know what, we can be friends, we can be whatever, but we can't obviously do this because it isn't working.
No, and I think it's important to, that's
and we're
healthy.
Just not copacetic in our things, and we're not jiving, whatever.
Yeah.
In the
I think that's healthy to be like, I love you, but we don't. This isn't.
we don't work.
Intimate romantic love. Like, I love you because you're a good person. We're friends, whatever. But like, I think that's a very important definition for people to realize, is that because you like or love or care about somebody doesn't mean that they're the right like partner for you for the long term.
Well, and because I think a lot of people think, oh, they're your ex, you probably hate them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, there's some that, and hate,
yeah.
There's just some that I'm like, they're trash. I don't ever want to have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
But there are some people, like, well, specifically like your last ex, who, fine person, good person.
We're still good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't the right fit romantically.
And that's okay.
And then figuring that out, it's like,
yeah.
You both became, like, more elevated people because you're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Now that we're not trying to make this square peg fit into a round hole, we can relax and we can breathe and we can just be friends.
I know. And it's been, and that has been nice because, again, I haven't really, growing up, I never really saw healthy relationships. I never saw, people who, even if they broke up, could even co-parent together, And so being able to have my last the last person I dated or was married to, we're on such good terms and we talk and it's fine and we joke and they're dating someone else and I'm dating someone else and it's not an issue is so foreign to me, but I enjoy it because I don't have the energy or the want to be like angry or hateful. Girl, I'm just too tired,
Speaking of relationships, I'm going to tell you something that's never made sense to me.
Tell me.
I am going to throw this person away, but I don't want anybody else to have them. That whole thing of like, well, I'm stalking your ex because they might be dating someone. Please date someone else.
Oh.
Please date someone else so that I don't even have to think about you.
Yes.
Or worry about you.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
Right.
But it's like, if I don't want you,
then toodaloo,
then
motherfucker.
I don't care who you're dating.
One-daloo, toodaloo, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Well, and we talked about this before, but it is different for me. Let's use an example. I have an ex-husband who's a piece of shit, right? Who I don't like as a person. I probably should, whatever. Should never married him. Should never been together, whatever. But if one of my good Judys or one of my friends started to date him, I'd feel like, ¿por qué? You know what I mean? I feel like that I don't trust your judgment. And I don't trust what you accept to be normalcy. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't trust your level of complacency within a shitty relationship. Like, it would change my opinion about people, depending on, if it was someone I didn't care about, a stranger, date them all you want. Go fuck up your own life as much as you want. But if it was like Heather Rachel or, Sebastian, who dated my ex, I'd be like, but why?
Right.
That would be very different.
Well, it is different because for me, I know this is childish and I don't care.
Yeah.
It's that the enemies of my friends are my enemies.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, if somebody has done you wrong, and I don't mean like your relationship just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
That's fine. It happens. But if somebody has literally done something horrible to you, they're dead to me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And I don't, it's like, and as a friend or as a family member, you should be looking to go, no, you fucked over my person.
Yeah.
And so, stay away from me. You're trash.
Well, and like, this perfectly because of who we're related to, but imagine, like, for me, example, you loved me, but the people who you're related to were the ones who are treating me so poorly. So it adds a whole layer of, like, difficulty. Do you know what I mean? I know, are we close to time?
We're about halfway through.
Oh my god, okay.
We got lots of time.
There was a little meme from the internet that I read, and I was like, that's big. And it talks about gossip, okay? And I've always been a fan of gossip, and I've always hated being people saying, don't gossip. Bitch, fuck off. But this says, what if the ancient idea of gossip as a peculiarly as a feminine sin was just a way to keep women from telling the stories of what happened to them and who they are? And I feel like, bitch the fuck. Because
I love that.
Yeah, because I mean, even think about, I don't know, when your mother was younger, she was never able to speak about the abuse she went through. She wasn't ever able to speak about the sexual abuse. She could never talk about how hard things were because no one talked about it. And it wasn't anyone else's business, and you had to keep it in the family, and blah, blah, blah. But I think this, like, the whole idea of don't gossip, don't spread rumor, like, sure, but gossip is literally just chit-chat. Do you know what I mean? And people are like, well, gossip about other people. Well, if that other person wronged me, they're part of my story now.
Yeah, I agree. I, too, am a fan of gossip.
Girl.
And I will tell you that this is one of my failings, I think, is that I like to hear when someone's like, oh, girl, did you hear what so-and-so did? No, I didn't. Tell me. And they'll tell me some awful thing or whatever, and it'll be like, wow, that is, whatever. And I will listen, and I will most likely not, that's as far as it's going to go, because who am I going to tell?
Yeah.
Other than you or my husband.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you everything anyway.
Yeah.
So just FYI, don't ever tell me something and say, but you can't tell anyone, including your husband or your daughter. No,
sorry.
Then don't tell me.
Honestly,
then just don't tell me because I'm going to tell them.
Yeah. But I don't think gossiping, for me, I don't feel like it's a shortcoming. I think that it is something that's kind of ingrained. Like, when people gossip, you think it's hushed in silence together. It's not out loud. Why do people gossip? Because they feel the need that they have to have hushed conversation, right? You aren't going to go to church and have your pastor abuse you and then speak about it loudly. You're going to start telling the church biddies. Do you know what I mean?
If you tell anyone.
But
I like the idea that it's, it was actually saying what a sin gossiping is, was literally just to keep people from talking about what was going on. Yeah. Because then if you shine a light on it, you have to do something about it.
Girl. And if you don't do something about it, then you're not worthy of their praise, of their worship, of their, patronage, whatever.
And by the way, that's a really good thing to just remember in every situation. If you shine a light on it, you got to do something about it. Because if you come to me, every week talking about, this horrible person you're dating and whatever and all of it, but you are not willing to do anything about it. And it's like, it actually reminds me of the situation I've had with my daughter this week is she's been sick, but refuses to do anything. It's like, just go drink this glass of water. You need to be hydrated. No.
Okay.
Eat real food. Don't go in there and just eat sugar. No. Wear a jacket when we go out because you're cold. And yes, I know that you don't catch a cold from being cold. I'm smarter than that. But it's like your body is trying to fight off this thing. Why go out? Whatever.
Your girl wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Yes.
Bitch, it's freezing.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, if you're not willing to do anything about this, then I don't want to hear about it. And which is something I've actually said to people in my life. It's like, well, my husband is still being terrible, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but no. And I know for me that when I've been in those kind of situations where it's like, yeah, this is going shit.
Yeah.
I won't talk about it until I've figured out what I can do about it. Because I don't want you to go, shit or get off the pot. Do what you're going to do. But don't just whine about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just, who wants to hear it over and over?
Irritating.
Yeah.
Like, grow the fuck up. And if we want to bitch and complain about shit, bitch and complain, girl. But if there's something that you can absolutely control, and that's the thing you're going to complain about, I'm tired. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the time or energy or effort to care about the thing that this is your one personality trait, is that you can complain about your husband or your weight or your job or what the fuck ever, then change it.
Right. And I do think it's different than, like kikiing with your sister, your best 100%. Friend, whoever, and going, ooh, my husband irritated me today.
Yeah.
Because I adore my husband, and he still irritates me.
Yeah.
And so I should be able to say to you,
oh yeah,
he
irritated me.
Ooh, he irritated me today, and here's why. But I'm not going, but I need to be without him. I need to move on. But no, I'm just saying this thing he did today.
Well, and I think that's fine.
And I will also talk to him about the thing he did that irritated me.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes I need a sounding board to go, really, you're mad about that?
Yeah, just breathe.
Yeah. Calm down.
We're going to make it through.
Yeah, we're all right. I will tell you, though, that I'm going to share a really shitty thing I said one time about my ex when I was with Eeyore.
Okay. Well,
I know.
I said lots of shitty things about that.
Well, I had gone to an event downtown, and one of my friends was like, "Where's your boyfriend?" And I said, "Oh, he's at home sick." And she's like, "He's always sick." And I said, "I know." So at this point, I just want him to either get better or die. Because pick something.
Bitch.
But instead of like being always sick and never getting help for it, never taking any responsibility, never being proactive, it's like, dude, honestly, it's exhausting.
It is true.
So the only thing he would ever do is like he'd go to the emergency room, like for migraines or whatever. But in the in between, never do the follow up work. Yeah. Never go to the doctor and say, "Hey, I've been in the emergency room 3 times in the last year for this same thing. What can we do about it?"
Yep.
You know, so
I get you. It is tiring, though. It is exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Anyway, what else? What else?
Well, you were gonna the empath thing.
Okay, so forever and ever and ever in a day, you and I have always talked about being like an empath, like being able to feel people's emotions, reading a room, all the things that come with like emoting very hard and being able to tell that in the room you're in, right, in the world you're in. Well, the older I get, the more I wonder if being an empath is something that we should be proud of, or if it's just trauma responses. And I was watching a therapist talk about it, and I was like, is it just a trauma response? So I did my own little research about it, but I found this thing that you read before this. It says, are you an empath? Do you have most or all of these traits? And it lists a bunch of shit, and I'll go over some of them. But all of these, to me, are trauma responses.
Well, I don't remember if it was just recently. I mean, it seems like it was fairly recent that we were having that conversation. You were saying to me that a lot of the trauma responses are because you're in an unsafe situation. You have to feel what the mood of the house is. You have to know kind of where the parents, like where they're coming from. Are they drunk? Are they mad? Are they whatever? And it's that high alert.
Yeah.
And so I think being a child on high alert at all times, it's going to make you have those empathic things. So that's why I think you're right. I think it is trauma response.
Yeah. Well, and I think about too, like, even just subtle changes in people's behavior. You know, those are like, you're so hyper vigilant that everything, you see everything. But this says things like, do you feel others' pain? You feel others' pain. Yes. But like, you get strong first impressions of people that end up being spot on. That to me is a trauma response. Yeah. You can't watch the news. That's because the news is ugly and awful.
And that's one of the things that I've taken shit about for years, is that I will not watch the news. Yeah. And if like, I will seek out things specific. I'm not going to sit and watch the news because it's like, too much. These people were shot and these people were killed in a car wreck and these children were being found, you know, starving. And it's like, I need something to balance that out.
Agreed, yeah.
You know, yeah.
You feel physically sick at violence of any kind. Yep. Yes, girl. It hurts my feelings. You help so much you're exhausted, but you can't stop helping.
That is one I've gotten past.
Okay. You feel sick or shaky around certain people. Yeah, because people gross me out. More aware of the suffering in the world than others. Girl, that is my biggest issue currently, is that I can't move on past that.
Because we talked about that a lot last week, is that, you know, you were saying ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Because then if you were more ignorant now of things going on in the world, you wouldn't have so much, you know, kind of trauma about the world being on fire.
Yes, girl. You have a deep need to make the world a better place. That goes hand in hand with more aware of the suffering in the world than others. You constantly attract broken-winged birds or bullies in relationships. Bitch.
That's true for both of us.
This next one is my entire life. You can't seem to detach from someone in need, even when it's for your best. Bitch! That has literally ruined my mental health more than once. You have a hard time saying no to people. only in my adult life, and probably within the last 10 years, have I been better about it.
I am much better about that now. I know that for the longest time when people ask, like, I'm going to say specifically about, like, doing shows. Mm-hmm. Can you come do this fundraiser? Can you do this thing? And I would be like, yes, of course, I'll come do it. And sometimes it was like, I don't want to. And it wasn't, I don't believe in your charity or I don't want to help. It's that I'm exhausted. And maybe I've done several other things that week, or maybe that's a day that I'm just busy. But now, I'll be like, well, thanks for asking, but no thank you.
No thanks. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's so funny. Even just before this, you asked if I wanted to go to breakfast with you and Auntie Alicia, and I was all, because of course I want to say yes, but even just saying no to that made me feel like, God damn it, I should go. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else. You're hyper aware of shifts in your surrounding. Yes. Sad movies are overwhelming. Anything that is emotion filled is too overwhelming for me 9 times.
Well, and on that note, I love sad movies.
Agreed.
I will watch them and I'll bawl through them. Yep. But I can also bawl through happy movies, through really moving music.
Yeah.
Whatever. All of it. Yeah. All of it makes me cry.
Agreed.
Because my emotions are so, like, at the surface that they're very easily accessed.
It feels like my emotions are the nucleus of everything else in my brain.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what I do, what I
100%.
watch, what I hear, what I smell. Living in San Francisco, I didn't talk to Grandma. That's when we had our oust. I walked through Bloomingdale's past Estee Lauder, smelled Cinnabar, and broke the fuck down. Yeah. So I get it. You're hypersensitive to noise or light. You sense if someone is lying. And you sense others' emotional state and feel it in your body. So many of these things are just because... I mean, not just because, but I think that 100% they're trauma responses. Because, again, being able to notice minor shifts in your surroundings or... the sensitivity.
Again, like I was saying, I think that's because you had to.
Yeah.
You, for your safety, you had to go, oh, that just changed.
Yeah.
That mood just changed. Mm-hmm. You were fine, and now maybe you've had one beer more and are being, like, weird about it. Whatever.
Yeah. So I'm less interested in people thinking that I'm an empath and more so just being empathetic because... I think that trauma responses in general can have the potential to be helpful. I think being hyper aware and being able to, like, surveil my surroundings and know immediately what's happening is a benefit. Yes. I think that how I learned these tools that I have in my little toolkit were not the healthiest. And I think that it makes me hypervigilant in every situation opposed to ones in which I feel I need to be. But yeah, I don't know. And I think it could go one of two ways. I think being an abused person, you know, I used to say this a lot about being sexually abused. Some people become very promiscuous, or some people shut down and never want to be touched again. And I have a cousin, and we went opposite ways after that. You know what I mean? One became very, very promiscuous, and it wasn't me. Not until I was an adult. But as a youth, no, I was like, don't look at me, don't touch me. I can't change in front of anybody. I can't, I'm not going to try clothes on in places. It stresses me out. But yeah, I think that if you are abused, you're going to go one of two ways. You're either going to become shut down, angry, maybe even a version of your abuser, or you're going to be like, I was abused so much. I was treated so poorly. I'm delicate. I want to save everybody. I want to make sure no animal, no child, no woman, no man feels that kind of abuse. I want to make sure that every environment I enter is safe. And if it's not safe, I need to know what the trigger is. And it's a lot. And a lot of the time, I think that really contributes to, like, my mental fatigue and feeling fatigued all the time. Is because... less now that I don't go to work, like, outside of the house, and because I'm home all the time, I don't feel it as much. But the thing is being home so much, now when I do go out to places, I feel like, boop, like, all of my little satellite dishes are up, and I need to be more aware, because it's such a rarity.
Absolutely.
And so going out little by little, more and more, I'm feeling better, but it has been so nice to not have to be aware, have to read people, have to... worry about the noises or the movements or I don't have concern like that anymore, and which has been nice.
Because you don't have to.
Right, it has been very nice. But But I know also at some point, Sister Mary Margaret, you have to move outside the house sometimes. So, I'm working on it, okay? So, that's how I feel about empathy. Or being an empath, specifically. So what do you have to say, bitch? What are you reading?
Just a little thing that's like, what is the best advice you can give to someone to lead a more fulfilling life?
Okay.
If you seek money, be wise.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I like that because instead of saying work harder, whatever, be smart about it. If you seek power, be strong. If you seek honor, be virtuous. If you seek happiness, be yourself.
Hey.
Yeah, I like that because really, those things speak, ring true to me. Especially the one, if you seek happiness, be yourself. Because if you're going into a relationship not 100% you, then that person can't know who you really are, and that's on you.
Well, at some point, the real you will come out, and then be like, who the fuck this?
What happened? This person didn't talk like this. They didn't act like that. Whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely. Because it is impossible for someone to get to know you if you're not showing them the real you. If you're
lying, yeah. What else? What's next? You have another one?
I don't know about this one.
Okay.
Never leave your parents. They are the reason you are here. If you have good parents.
Yeah.
And that goes back to me of the thing where people have always said, well, you have to love them. They're your family. You don't.
No.
That's like saying, well, that person captured you, so they get to keep you. No.
Absolutely not.
It's like, I don't have Stockholm Syndrome. I don't love my captors. Mm-mm. I don't love people who are in my life because I had to be there with them. That's not how it goes.
No.
And I know for me, learning, I don't have to love anyone.
No.
I don't have to feel any kind of way because social norms say you should.
No.
And I say bullshit. Because why should you?
Kick rocks, bitch. And that's how I feel. I'm really... See, this is where it gets real weird for me. I'm not... On one hand, I'm kind of grateful for the things that I learned in my youth. And if you have been paying attention, my youth was not cute. But because I...
What?
Right. Well, because I knew from a very young age that just because someone was my parent or my sibling or my family member did not mean that, one, I was going to like them, relate to them, have to like them, love them. And most of my family, I do not because of that. But I just remember thinking, like, how are people going to say, oh, well, don't say that about him, he's your father, when that man just beats the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Or doesn't feed us, or we don't have power or water, or, we're filthy, or we have scabies. Like, you want me to be like, oh, you're right, I won't say anything about him because he's my sperm donor. Like, bitch, no. First of all, parent or not, and I say this all the time, and I will say it until I die, if you wanted me to speak warmly about you, then you should have behaved better. Because you're the villain in my story, motherfucker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care that you're my dad. You're nothing to me, and I will forever... I'm just always that person. I don't care how you're related. You don't need to like him.
Because my thing is, if you don't respect me, if you... are directly saying, well, I think the things you believe in are garbage, and I think the opposite, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can do that. That's your prerogative. I don't care, but you're not going to be in my life.
No, absolutely not. Agreed.
So,
agreed.
This one's like, what is a good piece of random advice?
I don't
Stop
know.
Being nice.
Yes.
Santa Claus isn't going to reward you for being a good boy or girl. Be real instead. If someone asks your opinion, give it to them. Don't sugarcoat it. And don't be an asshole about it.
Right.
Just be real.
Well, I think that's it. I hate the term nice. I hate be nice. Be nice, girls. Be nice. Have a nice day. Like, nice is so bland. It's so beige. It's so boring.
Well, and it's also what has kept so many people down.
Oh.
Because it's like, well, you need to be nice. So I need to be nice in all situations.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's being awful to me, I should just be nice.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is abusive or someone is neglectful or so, I should be nice. No.
Mm-mm.
No, you need to be real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, be kind,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. Oh, sure, yeah.
but be real.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and be real about all the situations you're in. If this situation is shit, stop, trying to make it not shit.
Yeah.
Stop trying to polish that turd, as people say. It's still going to be shit,
Uh-huh.
no matter what you do. So you need to be real enough to go, you know what?
All
I
done.
got myself into this, and now I need to get myself out.
All done.
Unless it's like a family situation where you're born into it.
Sure.
And it's like, but you can still get yourself out.
Yeah.
If you can get past all the nonsense that people say about what you should or shouldn't do, you can get yourself out.
Yeah.
If you love yourself enough,
You can do it.
and that's the big thing. Do you love yourself enough to lose family members, to lose a friend group, or to whatever that's not healthy? And that's the biggest thing. I love myself enough to go, I can't be around you anymore because you try to make me feel bad about myself, because nobody can make me feel bad about myself, but you can sure try.
Yeah.
You can be like, well, you're fat or you're lazy or you're stupid or you're whatever. Well, that's your opinion, and if you really feel that way about me, you shouldn't be in my life.
Yeah.
Because if all you have to do is criticize,
Bye.
then take it elsewhere.
Yeah, girl, I don't care.
Yeah.
Hold on, be nice. I was trying to think what I was gonna say. I also hate when people say, well, be civil. Because I remember a few years ago when the whole Donald Trump nonsense was happening, and that was like the MAGA losers. They were just like, well, I gotta be civil. Or it was like other liberals being like, you have to be civil. We're never gonna get anywhere without civility. I'm not going to be civil to you if you want me dead, if you want me harmed, if you abuse me. Like, why do I need to be civil to you?
Right.
Like,
why do you have a free pass to be a horrible person?
Yes.
But I have to take the high road and be nice?
Never.
And I get the whole, when they go low, we go high. That's a lovely thought.
Ugh.
But I'm not going to get down and roll in the mud with you. I'm not going to have anything to do with you.
Mm-mm.
And if you come into my space talking about how I'm wrong or my friends are wrong, and you want to somehow, whatever it is, take away their rights, exterminate them, do whatever. Nope.
No.
I am not going to go, okay, I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
I sure as shit don't.
No. And the whole thing about when they go low, we go high, it is a beautiful sentiment. But bitch, if they go low, I go for the throat. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
well, as we've discussed before, we are both very petty women.
yeah. But,
And if you come for me, honey,
boo.
one, I'm not going to forget, and two, I'm not going to let you get away with it.
Oh, hell no.
No.
Fuck no. Yeah, that's the, I just, I don't,
No.
the whole turning the other cheek, and it's everything is fucking situational.
So turning the other cheek to me says, I'm going to give you another opportunity to slap me.
Oh, yeah. There's
What?
no way.
What?
Absolutely
I'm
not.
sorry. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, death.
Oh, death, bitch. That's right.
Because I'm sorry if you think that the answer is me turning the other cheek so you have another opportunity to hurt me. That's foolish.
Get fucked. Exactly.
That
100%.
is just foolish.
I agree with you. Yeah. It is so dumb to me that the ideologies that we instill into people from youth, like turn the other cheek and be nice and whatever the other pull yourself up by your
Respect
bootstraps.
your elders.
Respect your elders. Oh, that is another thing. I don't give a fuck about old people. I know it sounds bad. Yes, there's old people I love, and I'm not going to go and
Well,
beat
right,
up
but
old
it's
people.
more, I think with you, it's more, I'm not going to respect you just because you're old.
Ooh, 100%.
No.
And
It's like, yes, you're an elder, and if you're a good person, absolutely I respect you.
100%. But again, one thing I've said is, they being old means that you've lived through every single one of these civil rights movements and you've learned nothing, right? Like if you're old and you're still racist and you're still a bigot and you don't believe in feminism and like X, Y, and fucking Z, then you're just dumb. Like you grew up, you saw civil rights happen, you saw the third wave of feminism, you've seen all of this happen. And you've learned nothing, you're still that shitty human being. I don't give a fuck that you've survived. Congratulations surviving by stepping on other people's necks.
Right.
I don't care.
I know I had a client recently who was talking to me about, I don't know, some experience she had. I don't care at this point.
Yeah, who cares?
But after she made what I consider a racist remark.
Oh, good. Love that.
No, I'm sorry, not racist, a homophobic remark.
Ooh, even better.
She then followed it with, but I'm not homophobic.
You are.
Well, clearly you are.
Yeah.
Because what you just said is homophobic.
Yeah.
And, had you just said, oh, because she was talking about her son's, one of her son's teachers.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. And he was like, super gay and whatever, but it wasn't just that she said he was super gay, because I've certainly referred to people as being super gay.
Sure, yeah.
And whatever, but it was just whatever the remark was. And then, if you follow whatever you just said with, I'm not racist, I'm not homophobic, I'm not misogynistic.
You start it or end it, girl.
Yeah. It's like the same to me as when you go, no offense, but.
Yeah.
But what's coming next is offense.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be mean, but no, you're trying to soften it somehow.
Get away with being mean.
But you get away with it. That's better.
Yeah.
You're trying to get away with it. You're trying to get away with being racist or sexist or homophobic or whatever. And you just really need to do better.
Well, yes. And I think all these social things, the things I was listing, the turn the other cheek bullshit, this has all been taught and taught and taught, because it's, if you have to be nice and you have to respect elders and you have to always be civil, then you're never going to step out of line. You're never going to fight for what you deserve. You're never going to talk back when they remove your rights. You're never going, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
But
you're also not going to fight for your own health and well-being when someone's abusing you.
Exactly.
And I honestly think that's one of the reasons that was instilled in children, to respect your elders, because so many children were abused, whether that be physically or sexually or emotionally. It's like, but you don't get to say anything about it.
No. And so I want you to know that I am here, the world's on fire and I hate pretty much everything, but I am here for the downfall of celebrity culture. And what I mean by that is, there's recently the documentary that came out called Quiet on Set. It's behind the scenes of Nickelodeon and all the pedophiles they hired and all of that. Well, there are so many celebrities that came out in support of these pedophiles when they're all being taken to court. Some of them are James Marsden. You know what I mean? So all these big name actors. Oprah's going through the ringer. Tyler Perry's going through the ringer. But there's TikTok accounts that are 100% dedicated to exposing, this looks like a young girl and a man. What really is, it's 15-year-old girl and Jay-Z or whoever. You know what I mean? But the downfall, and a lot of it has to do with Palestine and Israel, because the whole stance is Israel's great in Palestine, they deserve what's coming to them. But we are seeing in the world that that's not the case, right? But so many people, Mayim Bialik, who, I'm sorry, she has that children's book. She was advertising at children's book, says the rockets in the sky. It's about Israel bombing and killing fucking people in Palestine. It's a children's book, but it's so the Jewish children feel safe in Israel. It's so weird to me.
That is not right.
But all of these things are being exposed. Your favorite celebrity, your favorite actor, actress, singer, whoever, is probably a pig of a fucking human being, because now we're in this time where everything is exposed.
Yes.
Sorry, you're lucky you didn't grow up in the time of the internet, but the internet didn't forget, bitch. We can find anything and everything you've ever done.
Absolutely.
And so, and
even people who signed DNRs, right?
Yeah. Do not resuscitate?
Yeah. No.
No.
What is it?
NDA.
NDA. I was like, well, maybe maybe do not resuscitate their career.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, what is it?
NDA.
I almost said DNA. That's not right either. The non-disclosure agreement.
Yes, NDA, yeah.
Well, those non-disclosure agreements run out.
Yes, ma'am.
Although WoW Presents is now making you sign it for 100 years.
Absolutely not.
It was no, I don't want to be on your show badly enough that I'm going to never be able to talk about what happened.
No.
But those things usually run out, and then people are going, when I worked for J-Lo, these were the awful things she did. When I worked for this person...
I love it.
It's
I'm here for
I
it.
know for me, when I hear that you, as a celebrity, that I've purchased your movies or your music or your whatever, that you're a shithead, I'm done. I'm not going to watch your movies.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay anything that puts money into your pocket.
Yeah.
I will watch your movie if I own it. The next, J.K. Rowling thing that comes on to the theater, I won't watch.
Yeah.
Until it's on free TV.
Yeah.
Because then it's not putting any money in her pocket.
And I'm with you 100%. I agree with you. And there are some things, this is the whole thing, ignorance is bliss again, is because so many celebutantes, everyone who has any sort of, like, celebrity in general, so many things are coming out that, like, we can use big examples of, like, Kevin Spacey and Roseanne Barr. Like, the Roseanne show was my entire childhood. Watching that gave me so much comfort, and I love it so much. But going back to watch the original Roseanne show, even though it's not problematic, it is hard for me because I fucking hate her. Do you know what I mean? Kevin Spacey, how many of his movies did we love? All of them. And now watching them just makes me feel fucking dirty.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. I'm here for that downfall. I think that Hollywood has gotten out of control. I don't think half these motherfuckers deserve shit. Amy Schumer, I can't stand that ugly ass white bitch who's a comedian. She's trash. But, like, I'm here for it. I want to see the demise of celebrity culture because I think it's useless. Yeah. And I think, yes, thank you for movies and television and whatever, but, like, so many of you don't deserve the accolades that you have.
Yeah, I'm going to do one more and then we're going to be done here. The latest one for me that had a big fall from grace, although he's weird enough, it probably won't affect him at all, is Joaquin Phoenix. Because somebody released a tape of him on set screaming at some person because they were talking, and it made him have to break character. They weren't filming at the moment; they were, like, setting up a scene.
Sure,
but he required, because he's method actor, has to be completely in his thing, that nobody speak.
Well, then your method isn't working.
Right. Then you're not a very good actor.
No.
If you're like, oh, somebody spoke and it broke my character, now you have to then berate them. Right. And when he talked about it, because obviously it was going all around social media and whatever, his thing was, well, I did call for a quiet set and they were talking.
Okay.
So I apologize, except I don't, because it's your fault. So it's like, that's not how that works.
It's all just so tiring.
It is so tiring.
I know.
So it is also time to go.
Praise.
It's time to get out of here and go do life things.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. You're gonna go to breakfast. And
I'm gonna go to breakfast, and you're gonna do things, and whatever.
Yeah,
do all the things.
I'm just gonna go be such a thing doer. It's gonna be insane. You have no idea. You don't even recognize
I do know. I know what it's like to be a thing doer.
That's my least favorite.
And the thing we're gonna do right now is leave.
Yeah.
But not until we tell you that you can email us at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com.
Yes, you can.
And you can find us on almost all the podcasting apps.
What?
And if you subscribe, then we automatically come to your...
Oh my God. Lucky you.
You get a notification. You don't even have to go searching
You've
for
got
us.
mail.
Because we're right there.
Girl.
Oh God, what year is it? You've got mail.
I know, girl. I know. 1989.
But on that note...
I'm over it. Bye.
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 It would seem as though...